very urgent. Your soulmate is waiting for you to see this. Before they make a final decision. Don't scroll. Stop for a moment and listen to this because this message is for you. Not everyone was meant to find these words today. Out of millions of people scrolling through their screens, somehow you ended up here. That is not an accident. That is not random. Your heart needs this right now. If you've been feeling a strange emotional pull lately, if you've been thinking about someone unexpectedly, if you've been seeing angel numbers like 111, 222, 444, or 777 repeatedly, or if you've had the feeling that something important is about to happen, then pay attention. The universe may be trying to prepare you for a moment that has been building behind the scenes for much longer than you realize. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate is standing at a crossroads. A real emotional crossroads. Not the kind people talk about casually, but the kind that changes the direction of an entire chapter of life. For a very long time, they have been carrying questions inside their heart. Questions about timing. Questions about destiny. Questions about whether they should continue believing in this connection. Questions about whether they should keep holding on to hope. And lately, those questions have become impossible to ignore. This message is for you. Because while you've been living your life, trying to stay strong, trying to trust the process, trying to heal from your own challenges, your soulmate has been fighting an invisible battle. Nobody around them fully understands it. Nobody sees what happens inside their mind when your name appears in their thoughts. Nobody knows how often they think about you. Nobody knows how many times they've asked the universe for guidance. But the battle is real. And tonight, it feels more intense than ever. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. There have been nights recently when your soulmate couldn't sleep. Nights when the world became quiet and there were no distractions left to drown out their emotions. Nights when every question felt louder. Nights when every memory felt stronger. During those moments, they found themselves thinking about you over and over again. They remembered conversations. They remembered moments. They remembered feelings they thought they had under control. But every memory carried the same message. The connection never truly disappeared. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate has reached a point where they can no longer pretend that this connection is insignificant. They tried. They really did. They told themselves they should focus elsewhere. They told themselves they should stop hoping. They told themselves they should stop looking for signs. But every attempt to move away emotionally only brought them back to the same place. Back to you. Back to the connection. Back to the questions living inside their heart. This message is for you. Because recently, something changed. Something shifted. The universe started placing signs directly in front of them. Not subtle signs. Clear signs. Repeating numbers appearing everywhere. Songs arriving at exactly the right moment. Dreams that felt more real than reality itself. Random conversations that somehow reflected their exact situation. Every sign seemed to carry the same message. Pay attention. Don't give up yet. There is still something you need to understand. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. The final decision your soulmate is considering is not coming from anger. It is not coming from resentment. It is not coming from a lack of love. It is coming from emotional exhaustion. They are tired of existing in uncertainty. Tired of carrying unanswered questions. Tired of wondering whether what they feel is shared. Tired of standing between hope and doubt. For so long they have remained in this space, believing clarity would arrive on its own. But clarity has not arrived the way they expected. And now they feel pressure to choose a direction. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. There are moments when your soulmate feels completely certain about the connection. Moments when they feel the universe confirming everything. Moments when they believe without question that your paths are connected for a reason. During those moments, they feel hopeful. They feel inspired. They feel guided. But then fear returns. Fear asks difficult questions. Fear reminds them of past disappointments. Fear warns them about vulnerability. Fear tells them to protect their heart. And suddenly they find themselves caught between faith and self-protection once again. This message is for you. Because your soulmate is beginning to understand something important. Every major decision in life eventually comes down to one question: will fear make the choice, or will the heart make the choice? That question has become impossible for them to avoid. Every day they wake up carrying it. Every night they go to sleep carrying it. Every sign they receive seems to bring them back to it. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. Have you noticed how your intuition has been stronger lately? Have you felt random emotional waves? Have you felt someone thinking about you even though there was no obvious reason? Have you looked at the clock and repeatedly seen 11:11 or 2:22? This message is for you. Because energy often moves before physical reality changes. Souls often communicate before words are exchanged. And right now, your soulmate's heart is sending energy in your direction more strongly than ever before. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. The universe is showing your soulmate things they cannot ignore. Every time they consider walking away emotionally, a sign appears. Every time they convince themselves that they should stop caring, another reminder shows up. Every time they think the connection is fading, they experience something that proves it is still alive. It is almost as if life itself refuses to let them forget. This message is for you. Because your soulmate has been imagining two possible futures. In one future, they continue following fear. They continue suppressing their emotions. They continue pretending the connection doesn't matter. In the other future, they choose courage. They choose honesty. They choose to trust what their heart has been saying all along. And lately, they have been realizing something surprising. The future built on fear feels empty. The future built on truth feels alive. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. There have been moments when your soulmate almost made their final decision. Moments when they felt ready to stop hoping. Moments when they felt ready to close the chapter and move forward. But every single time, something stopped them. A dream. A sign. A memory. A feeling. A sudden wave of emotion that arrived without warning. Something always interrupted the decision. Something always reminded them that the story may not be over yet. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. One of the biggest realizations your soulmate has experienced recently is that they don't actually want to give up. What they want is clarity. What they want is truth. What they want is reassurance that everything they've been feeling wasn't imagined. They don't want an ending. They want understanding. They don't want distance. They want certainty. They don't want to stop caring. They want to know whether their heart has been guiding them correctly all along. This message is for you. Because the emotional pressure surrounding this connection is creating momentum. Every sign adds more momentum. Every realization adds more momentum. Every dream adds more momentum. And momentum eventually creates movement. Something is building. Something is shifting. Something is preparing to change. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate is closer than ever to a breakthrough. Not just a breakthrough in the connection, but a breakthrough in themselves. They are beginning to understand that fear has been influencing too many of their decisions. They are beginning to understand that meaningful opportunities rarely come with guarantees. They are beginning to understand that waiting forever is its own form of loss. And those realizations are changing the way they see everything. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. The universe is not showing them signs because it wants them to stay confused. The universe is showing them signs because it wants them to wake up. To pay attention. To recognize what matters before it is too late. And every sign seems to be pointing toward the same truth. The connection still matters. The feelings still matter. The story is not finished. This message is for you. Because before your soulmate makes their final decision, there is one last realization approaching. A realization so powerful that it may completely change the direction they choose. A realization about what they truly want, what they truly fear, and what they truly feel. And when that realization finally reaches the surface, they may discover that the thing they thought they were ready to walk away from is actually the very thing their heart has been fighting to protect all along. Don't scroll, listen to this because your heart needs this right now. If you're still here, then this message was meant to find you. The universe has a way of guiding people toward the exact words they need when important shifts are happening behind the scenes. And right now, something significant is unfolding inside your soulmate's heart. While the world around them continues moving as normal, while other people go about their lives unaware, your soulmate is carrying emotions that have become impossible to ignore. This message is for you. Because after everything they've been feeling, after every sign they've received, after every night spent questioning whether they should keep holding on, they have reached a point where they can no longer avoid asking themselves the truth. What is it that they really want? Not what fear wants. Not what logic wants. Not what pride wants. What does their heart want? And the answer keeps leading them back to the same place. Back to the same connection. Back to the same thoughts. Back to you. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. There have been moments recently when your soulmate felt completely certain they were ready to make a final decision. They told themselves they needed closure. They told themselves they needed to stop wondering. They told themselves they needed to choose a direction and commit to it. But every time they prepared themselves emotionally, something happened that interrupted the process. A memory appeared. A dream arrived. A feeling surfaced. A sign from the universe appeared at exactly the right moment. It felt almost impossible. Almost as if something greater than themselves was refusing to let them close the chapter before they fully understood it. This message is for you. Because your soulmate is beginning to realize that there is a difference between ending something and understanding something. For a long time, they believed that moving on would automatically create peace. But now they are questioning that belief. Because every time they imagine walking away without answers, without honesty, without understanding what this connection truly means, they feel a heaviness inside. A sadness they cannot explain. A feeling that something important would be left unfinished. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. The universe has been teaching your soulmate a powerful lesson about unfinished stories. Some stories end naturally. Some stories reach a conclusion and bring peace. But other stories continue pulling at the heart because there is still something left to discover. Something left to learn. Something left to experience. Your soulmate is beginning to suspect that this connection belongs in that second category. The category of stories that cannot simply be ignored because they still carry purpose. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. Have you noticed how certain thoughts keep returning no matter how hard you try to move past them? Have you noticed how some people remain emotionally present even during long periods of silence? Have you noticed how some connections seem to resist being forgotten? This message is for you. Because your soulmate has been experiencing exactly that. They have tried distracting themselves. They have tried focusing on other priorities. They have tried convincing themselves that enough time would change everything. Yet somehow, the connection remains. Not weaker. Not smaller. Still there. Still meaningful. Still impossible to completely dismiss. This message is for you. Because recently, your soulmate had a moment of honesty with themselves. A moment where they stopped trying to find the safest answer and started looking for the most truthful one. During that moment, they admitted something they had been avoiding for a long time. They admitted that part of them has been waiting. Waiting for clarity. Waiting for a sign. Waiting for courage. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for something that would finally allow them to stop questioning what their heart has been trying to tell them all along. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. There are nights when your soulmate feels your energy so strongly that it almost feels physical. A memory suddenly appears. An emotion rises unexpectedly. A feeling of connection washes over them without warning. These experiences have become increasingly frequent. And every time they happen, they leave the same impression. The connection is alive. The connection is real. The connection still matters. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. One of the biggest struggles your soulmate has been facing involves trust. Not trust in you. Trust in themselves. Trust in their intuition. Trust in the signs they keep receiving. Trust in the possibility that their heart might actually know something their mind is still trying to understand. For years they have relied on logic to protect themselves. Logic felt safe. Logic felt predictable. But this connection does not fit neatly into logic. It speaks a different language. A language of intuition, synchronicity, emotion, and spiritual awareness. And learning to trust that language has been one of the greatest challenges of their life. This message is for you. Because lately, the signs have become stronger than ever. Angel numbers appear at the exact moments they are thinking about the future. Songs play with lyrics that seem written specifically for their situation. Dreams feel so vivid that they wake up emotional. Random conversations somehow answer private questions they never shared with anyone. Every experience feels connected. Every experience feels intentional. Every experience feels like another piece of a larger puzzle. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. The final decision your soulmate has been considering is not really about choosing between you and something else. It is about choosing between fear and faith. Fear tells them to stop hoping. Fear tells them to stay protected. Fear tells them to avoid uncertainty. But faith tells a different story. Faith tells them to trust what they feel. Faith tells them to believe the signs matter. Faith tells them that some opportunities are worth the risk. And right now, those two voices are competing for control. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. There was a moment recently when your soulmate imagined looking back on this chapter years from now. They imagined themselves asking one question: did I listen to my heart? That question affected them deeply. Because they realized that no matter what happens, they want to know they were honest with themselves. They want to know they were brave enough to acknowledge what they felt. They want to know they gave the connection a chance to reveal its truth instead of shutting the door out of fear. This message is for you. Because every lesson your soulmate has experienced recently seems to point toward the same realization. Life is too short for endless uncertainty. Life is too precious for endless hesitation. Life is too meaningful to allow fear to make every important decision. Those lessons are changing them, strengthening them, preparing them. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate is no longer trying to convince themselves that the connection means nothing. That chapter is over. They already know it means something. The question now is what they are going to do with that truth. What action they are willing to take. What risk they are willing to accept. What future they are willing to fight for. And those questions are becoming impossible to ignore. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. The universe has been creating momentum. Every sign. Every dream. Every emotional breakthrough. Every moment of reflection. Together they are building towards something larger. Momentum always creates movement eventually. And your soulmate can feel that movement approaching. They can feel themselves changing. They can feel themselves becoming more honest. More courageous. more willing to trust what their heart already knows. This message is for you. Because there is another truth emerging inside your soulmate. The truth is that the possibility of losing this connection feels more painful than the possibility of being vulnerable. Think about that for a moment. The fear that once kept them silent is beginning to lose its power. Not because fear disappeared, but because something stronger has appeared. The desire for truth. The desire for clarity. The desire to know what could happen if they finally stopped running from what they feel. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. Every sign from the universe seems to be leading toward the same destination. Every lesson seems to be preparing them for the same realization. Every emotional wave seems to be carrying the same message. Stop waiting for perfect certainty. Stop waiting for fear to disappear completely. Stop waiting for life to hand you guarantees. Some things must be discovered through courage. Some answers only appear after action. Some truths only reveal themselves when someone is willing to take a step forward. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate is closer than ever to understanding that their final decision may not be about letting go at all. It may be about finally choosing to believe. Finally choosing to trust. Finally choosing to follow the path their heart has been pointing toward for so long. And as that realization continues growing stronger inside them, they are approaching a breakthrough that could change everything. Because what they are about to understand next is that the connection they have been questioning may actually be the very thing the universe has been trying to protect all along. Don't scroll, listen to this because your heart needs this right now. If you've made it this far, then this message was meant to find you. The universe has been guiding this story one step at a time, one sign at a time, one realization at a time. And while you may not be able to see everything happening behind the scenes, your soulmate is moving through an emotional awakening that is becoming impossible to stop. This message is for you. Because after everything they have been feeling, after all the signs, all the dreams, all the moments of doubt and hope, your soulmate is finally beginning to understand something that changes everything. The connection they have been questioning is no longer a question in their heart. The connection is real. The feelings are real. The emotional impact is real. What they are struggling with now is not whether the connection exists. What they are struggling with is what to do about it. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. For a long time, your soulmate thought the final decision would be simple. They imagined there would come a day when they would either move forward or walk away. They imagined clarity would arrive like a lightning bolt, giving them an obvious answer. But life rarely works that way. Soul connections rarely work that way. Instead of receiving one dramatic answer, they have received hundreds of small confirmations. Hundreds of moments that all point toward the same truth. A dream that felt too real to ignore. A sign that appeared at the perfect moment. A feeling that returned no matter how many times they tried to dismiss it. Every experience has been adding another piece to the puzzle. This message is for you. Because recently, your soulmate has started paying attention to the pattern instead of the individual signs. And when they looked at the bigger picture, something extraordinary happened. They realized the universe has been repeating the same message over and over again. Not once. Not twice. Dozens of times. The message is simple: stop doubting what your heart already knows. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. There have been nights when your soulmate sat alone asking the universe for clarity. Not because they wanted a miracle. Not because they wanted everything handed to them. They simply wanted to understand why this connection continues following them through every season of life. Why does your energy appear during important moments? Why do thoughts of you arrive during periods of reflection? Why do signs seem to appear whenever they are considering a major emotional decision? These questions have become impossible to ignore. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. The more your soulmate reflects honestly, the more they realize that every attempt to escape the connection has only revealed its importance. Every effort to move away emotionally has somehow brought them closer to understanding it. Every period of distance has increased their awareness instead of reducing it. And that realization has forced them to confront a difficult truth. Perhaps the connection was never meant to be escaped. Perhaps it was meant to be understood. This message is for you. Because your soulmate is beginning to see how much fear has influenced their journey. Fear disguised itself as logic. Fear disguised itself as caution. Fear disguised itself as patience. But underneath all those disguises, it was still fear. Fear of disappointment. Fear of rejection. Fear of vulnerability. Fear of getting hurt. Yet lately something has changed. Fear no longer feels as convincing as it once did. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. Have you ever reached a point where staying the same became more uncomfortable than changing? That's exactly where your soulmate is right now. The uncertainty they have been carrying is becoming heavier than the risk of taking action. The silence they have been living with is becoming harder than honesty. The questions are becoming more painful than the possibility of answers. And when that shift happens, everything begins to change. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. There are moments when your soulmate imagines what life would feel like if they finally stopped resisting what they feel. If they finally trusted the connection. If they finally allowed themselves to believe that not every meaningful relationship is supposed to be logical from the beginning. Those moments bring an unexpected sense of peace. Not fear. Not anxiety. Peace. As though some deeper part of them already knows which direction they are meant to move. This message is for you. Because the angel numbers surrounding this connection have become almost impossible to ignore. Your soulmate notices 111 during moments of emotional clarity. They notice 222 when they wonder whether the connection is mutual. They notice 444 when they need reassurance. They notice 555 during periods of change. Every number seems to arrive exactly when it is needed. Every sign feels like a gentle reminder from the universe saying, "Keep going. You're closer to the truth than you realize." Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. One of the most emotional realizations your soulmate has experienced recently came during a moment of complete honesty with themselves. They stopped asking whether the connection was convenient. They stopped asking whether it fit neatly into their plans. They stopped asking whether it would be easy. Instead, they asked one simple question: does it matter? The answer arrived immediately. Yes. It matters. More than they wanted to admit. More than they expected. More than they can ignore. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. That realization has changed everything. Because once someone admits that something matters, they can no longer pretend indifference. Once someone acknowledges the importance of a connection, they can no longer treat it like an afterthought. Once someone recognizes the truth of their feelings, every future decision becomes affected by that truth. This message is for you. Because your soulmate is beginning to understand that their final decision is not really about the connection itself. The connection already exists. The feelings already exist. The significance already exists. The real decision is whether they will trust what has been revealed to them. Whether they will trust their intuition. Whether they will trust the signs. Whether they will trust their own heart. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. The universe has been preparing your soulmate through every challenge they have faced. Every disappointment taught resilience. Every heartbreak taught wisdom. Every delay taught patience. Looking back now, they can see how every lesson contributed to who they are becoming. None of it was wasted. None of it was meaningless. Every experience prepared them for this moment. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. There is another truth emerging inside your soulmate. They are beginning to realize that waiting forever is not a strategy. It is a form of avoidance. And the longer they sit with that realization, the more powerful it becomes. They understand now that clarity often comes after action, not before it. Courage often comes during movement, not before it. Answers often appear after someone is willing to take a step forward. This message is for you. Because lately your soulmate has been imagining two futures again. But this time the comparison feels different. In one future, they continue allowing fear to lead. In the other, they choose honesty. And every time they imagine the second future, something inside them feels lighter. More hopeful. More alive. More aligned. The difference is becoming impossible to ignore. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. The emotional pressure they have been feeling is not punishment. It is preparation. The signs are not random. They are guidance. The dreams are not accidents. They are reminders. Everything happening right now is serving a purpose. Everything is leading somewhere. Everything is building toward a breakthrough. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate can feel that breakthrough approaching. They can sense it in their intuition. They can sense it in the way their thoughts have changed. They can sense it in the way fear is losing influence. They can sense it in the way hope keeps returning no matter how many times doubt tries to take its place. Something inside them is waking up. Something inside them is becoming stronger. This message is for you. Because before they make their final decision, there is one realization they are still moving toward. A realization so important that it has the power to change the entire outcome of this story. They are beginning to understand that the question was never whether the connection mattered. The connection always mattered. The question was whether they would be brave enough to honor what their heart has been showing them all along. And as that realization grows stronger every day, they are moving closer to a moment where fear will no longer be able to speak louder than truth. A moment where the signs, the dreams, the emotions, and the lessons finally come together. A moment where they may realize that the final decision they thought they were making is actually the beginning of an entirely new chapter. Don't scroll, listen to this because your heart needs this right now. If you've stayed through every message, every sign, every revelation that brought you here, then what you're about to hear may be the most important part of this entire journey. This message is for you. The universe has been guiding your soulmate through a process they never expected. A process that began with confusion, moved through uncertainty, and is now arriving at something much deeper. Clarity. Not perfect clarity. Not the kind that answers every question overnight. But the kind that changes a person's heart forever. And right now, your soulmate is standing at the edge of that transformation. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. For so long, they believed their final decision would be about whether they should continue believing in the connection. They thought they would eventually have to choose between hope and letting go. They thought the answer would come through logic, analysis, and careful planning. But the universe had a different lesson in mind. The lesson was never about deciding whether the connection existed. The connection existed all along. The lesson was about deciding whether they were willing to trust it. This message is for you. Because lately, your soulmate has been experiencing moments that feel impossible to explain. Moments when they suddenly feel at peace while thinking about you. Moments when anxiety disappears for no obvious reason. Moments when a deep sense of knowing settles into their heart. These experiences don't happen every minute of every day. But they happen often enough to leave a lasting impression. And every time they occur, they carry the same message. Stop fighting what feels true. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. There was a recent moment when your soulmate imagined their life 5 years from now. Not the version of life built around fear. Not the version built around self-protection. The version built around honesty. The version built around courage. The version built around following their heart. And when they imagined that future, they felt something they hadn't felt in a long time. Excitement. Hope. Possibility. It was a powerful reminder that some futures feel lighter because they align with the truth of who we are. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. The signs from the universe have become stronger, not weaker. Angel numbers continue appearing exactly when guidance is needed. Dreams continue arriving during moments of uncertainty. Synchronicities continue showing up at the perfect time. Every sign seems to reinforce the same lesson. Trust the process. Trust the connection. Trust yourself. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that these signs are not there to replace action. They are there to encourage it. This message is for you. Because one of the biggest breakthroughs your soulmate has experienced recently involves forgiveness. Forgiveness of themselves. For the delays. For the doubts. For the times they ignored their intuition. For the opportunities they almost missed. They are starting to understand that growth requires compassion. That awakening requires patience. That nobody learns every lesson immediately. And as they forgive themselves, something beautiful is happening. The emotional weight they have been carrying is becoming lighter. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. There are evenings when your soulmate reflects on everything that has happened and realizes how much they have changed. The person they were at the beginning of this journey is not the person they are now. They are more aware, more emotionally honest, more willing to confront difficult truths, more willing to trust their intuition, more willing to believe that meaningful connections deserve attention instead of avoidance. These changes did not happen overnight. They happened through every challenge, every sign, every lesson, and every moment of reflection. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate is beginning to see that every obstacle served a purpose. Every delay served a purpose. Every misunderstanding served a purpose. Even the painful moments carried hidden lessons. Looking back, they can see how each experience prepared them for the realization they are reaching now. A realization that feels both simple and profound. What matters deserves courage. This message is for you. Because courage is becoming the central theme of their story. Not dramatic courage. Not fearless courage. Real courage. The kind that exists even when uncertainty remains. The kind that chooses honesty despite vulnerability. The kind that takes a step forward without knowing exactly what will happen next. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that this is the courage the universe has been trying to teach them all along. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. Have you ever noticed how life becomes louder when you're ignoring something important? The signs become stronger. The emotions become stronger. The lessons become stronger. That's exactly what happened. Every time your soulmate tried to dismiss the connection, another reminder appeared. Every time they attempted to suppress their feelings, another realization surfaced. Every time they considered walking away emotionally, another sign appeared to stop them. The universe was persistent because the lesson was important. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. One of the most emotional truths your soulmate has discovered is that they no longer want decisions to be made by fear. Fear has already taken enough. Fear has already created enough delays. Fear has already influenced enough choices. Now they want something different. They want truth to lead. They want authenticity to lead. They want their heart to have a voice in shaping their future. This message is for you. Because lately, your soulmate has found themselves imagining conversations that once felt impossible. Conversations built on honesty. Conversations built on vulnerability. Conversations built on genuine emotion. The fact that they can even imagine these conversations now is a sign of how much they have grown. Not long ago, those possibilities felt too intimidating. Now they feel necessary. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. The final decision they thought they were preparing to make is beginning to transform into something completely different. At first, they believed the choice was whether to continue believing in the connection. Now they realize the choice is whether to continue doubting themselves. That realization changes everything. Because the connection is no longer the biggest question. Their willingness to trust it is. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. The universe has been building momentum through every sign, every dream, every synchronicity, every emotional breakthrough. Momentum is a powerful force. It starts quietly. It grows gradually. And eventually, it becomes impossible to stop. That is where your soulmate is now. The momentum is no longer building. It is moving. They can feel it. They can sense it. They know something inside them is shifting permanently. This message is for you. Because your soulmate is approaching a moment of truth. A moment where all the lessons come together. A moment where every sign finally makes sense. A moment where the fears that once seemed overwhelming no longer hold the same power. They are beginning to understand that life rarely rewards endless hesitation. It rewards growth. It rewards courage. It rewards authenticity. And that understanding is changing the way they view this entire connection. Don't scroll. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. There is one final realization rising to the surface of their heart. A realization they can no longer avoid. They are beginning to understand that the connection was never the obstacle. The timing was never the obstacle. The circumstances were never the obstacle. The greatest obstacle was believing they needed certainty before they could trust what they felt. Now they see things differently. Now they understand that certainty often arrives after courage, not before it. Listen to this because your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate is standing on the threshold of a new chapter. Behind them is doubt. Behind them is hesitation. Behind them is the version of themselves that constantly questioned every sign and every feeling. Ahead of them is honesty. Ahead of them is trust. Ahead of them is the possibility of discovering what happens when they finally stop resisting what their heart has been trying to show them. This message is for you. Because the final decision they thought they were making is no longer about ending something. It is no longer about walking away. It is no longer about giving up. It is about choosing courage over fear. Faith over doubt. Truth over avoidance. And as that realization settles deeper into their soul, they are beginning to see that the universe was never preparing them to close the door on this connection. It was preparing them to finally open it. And once they fully embrace that truth, the next step they take may become the moment that changes this entire story forever.